Can I go
Sure.
back to you, Garima ji? We have talked about industry, but you have talked about BRSR for top 1,000 listed companies, which is a reporting requirement from this financial year. On the other hand, the MNCs which are privately held, in our case, Honda, Hyundai, and I think MG Motors, they do not need to report a BRSR because they're not listed. And to me and to us, that feels unfair. One, they should be as responsible to Indian public as anybody else, right? Second, why should Indian listed companies do stuff which they need not? I'm not saying they are not. Honda already is engaging with us and doing good work. But the harmonization of guidelines, do you have a view on it? Do you think something will happen to that?
Yeah. So, Sandeep ji, see, one thing is that the BRSR has been introduced by SEBI, and I again would like to say that from the mother document of NGRBC, which was a voluntary guidelines, which for whatever size the company is. So there was no restriction on adoption of NGRBC. But yeah, to answer your question, SEBI, I think, has adopted again a cascading form of adoption of BRSR with top 1,000 listed companies leading the way for other companies. But we need to also understand that large MNCs, they have something very unique challenges to report in the form of BRSR. When I say unique challenges, it could be a regulatory variation. Different countries have varying regulatory frameworks, and still we see a lot of companies do even their ESG reporting through GRI or IR or other frameworks. So some countries have mandatory reporting regulations, while others have voluntary guidelines, wherein almost all the companies have adopted that. So large MNCs, when they operate across the multiple jurisdictions, and when there's a lack of uniform regulations, that might result in inconsistent reporting practices. Secondly, when we talk about materiality and scale, the large MNCs again have very complex and diverse operations, which makes it very challenging to determine which ESG factors are most material, right? So which is most relevant or impactful to report on. Additionally, even the scale of their operation also makes it difficult to provide a comprehensive report covering, all the aspects of their business. Another challenge could be even the data availability. See, that's again, when we talk with the companies about the process of BRSR and all that thing. So data is a major issue. Reporting on sustainability requires access to accurate and the reliable data. And some MNCs, they may face some challenges in collecting the consistent and a comparable data across their various, subsidiaries or business units, especially when they operate in, regions with some sort of a limited transparency and all that. Then there are also a challenge of a competitive concern, which is where the MNCs feel reluctant to disclose certain sustainability related information due to concerns about revealing competitive advantages, proprietary process, or sensitive supply chain information. Although let me mention that there has been a study and articles on it, which has actually said that it's nothing a competitive concern is there. Then also another challenge is about resource constraint. So preparing a comprehensive BRSR requires a dedicated resources, technology, expertise. So smaller companies, although there is a BRSR light also, but they might face that kind of a limitation. While larger MNCs, they might prioritize other initiatives or face challenges even in coordinating the reporting efforts across their global operations. And as we all know, jurisdiction challenge is also there, that different countries with varying levels of reporting standards and transparency. So to navigate these challenges, to ensure the consistent and the accurate reporting can be complex. But what can be done, if I can just mention that, that there has been a growing concern or a trend, towards this ESG reporting, which we say environmental, social, and governance reporting, and the sustainability disclosures in the last few years, we have seen a significant growth in that. Many stock exchanges, regulatory bodies, they have been actively promoting and even mandating such reportings to enhance the transparency and accountability. We are also seeing SEBI is issuing a lot of clarifications, regulations and all that on the ESG. So investors and consumers are increasingly focusing and seeking information about the company's practices. And that can actually influence the MNC's decision also to improve their reporting efforts. And I would end by saying that it's not that MNCs are not at all reporting. We are also doing a lot of integration of our BRSR with their international reporting standards. So in that case, I think we may agree to the fact that in spite of these challenges, we can cull out the information, rather the MNCs can report in this format also.
Thank you, Garima ji. I think it's a good way to look at challenges companies have. Obviously, from our point of view, and I must mention this, I've attended Financial Times last 2 years moral money conferences in the UK. And when I listen to all these speakers, CEOs and ESG consultants and UN people, and I talk to them, I find that, they are not really involved in the implementation on the ground. And they don't know much about what's happening on the ground. And although they are MNCs, and I'm talking mainly MNCs, I'm finding that there is a disconnect between what they're saying and what they're doing. And we will keep asking for, advocating for, to Niti Aayog, we have been doing it for 3 years, that in our case, for example, it's Honda, Hyundai, and MG Motors, I think is also privately held. Their reporting, with the constraints that you absolutely rightly point out, should be as good as Indian companies, if not better, given what you talk about their resources.